and get started. Thank you, Pam. So thank you so much for taking the time to be with us. And we will have this recording available because I know there are a lot of people who weren't able to be with us, but who will be watching the recording. So hi to all of those people too. Glad to have you with us, even if your faces aren't quite right there. So it's been, gosh, what's today's the 10th? It's been almost 1 month since that class. And I know Simone and I are both still kind of riding the high of that, and with such a pleasurable experience to be with you in that way, and with the amount of space and the flow that happened, and also just getting to go to the depth of that place, the depth of ourselves and of being a practitioner was super, super gratifying for us. So thanks so much for being with us. And I am wondering, we are wondering about what your insights may have been over the last month, what your experience has been of putting these things into practice. And also we wanted to start out with any, questions that you might have that we can fill in a little bit more.
And if you have practiced a bit of pranayama, I'm wondering, yay.
Yeah, Micah.
Yeah, can I just quickly share my experience of putting the breathing in whilst I give my treatments. In fact, I've just done a long complementary therapy clinic at work where I saw like 5 people back to back. It wasn't just EEM, it's primarily reflexology, but I sort of sprinkled quite a bit of EEM in as well. And I mean, basically, I found that breath absolutely invaluable. And if I say that breath, I mean, basically what I'm doing is I breathe in using what I call the ocean breath. I can't remember whether you call it ocean breath or Darth Vader. You know, that kind of the softer, the
Ujjayi.
Yeah, exactly. So the soft Ujjayi, breathing in from the earth, and then either I think that was the very first session we had online, that I imagined this torus field, kind of sprinkling out. I always imagine like a sort of like a fountain of golden light with the out breath, or I take the out breath back usually on the back of my body, and then release it back into the earth. But in any case, I just find it so helpful, and I really find that I'm not getting half as exhausted from the treatments I'm giving just by using that breath. So thank you guys. Amazing.
Yay. Excellent. Thank you so much for letting us know. That's exactly why we want to bring this. That's brilliant. Thank you, Mike. And I see the hands up. Hi, Lucia. We'll do you and then Roxana.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So my greatest takeaway was your quote that the secret of your successful practice is in your personal practice. So I've been really doing the meditation every morning, like since our first Zoom meeting. And my husband as well. So every morning we sit next to each other and we are doing, the Ujjayi breath, and we got ourselves little bean bags, like, special meditation bags to sit on. So our knees are like lower than the pelvis. It's really great. So I absolutely love that. And my question was just a tiny confusion about the tongue, because I asked Donna, then we were having the meeting with Donna and David, and she kind of looked a little bit confused. She said that, I don't know, it doesn't kind of work for her, but maybe I asked it in a way that she didn't understand that this is just a meditation technique. But basically, since then, I'm so worried that my tongue is sticking up, and I'm just kind of scared to have it up. I just need a little clarification on that.
Can I say something to that? Because I was there. I was actually there in the
yes,
with Donna and David in the question and answer. Yeah, I was there. So really important. Donna speaks from her own experience, and she does not come from a yogic background. So when Donna speaks, and there's no right or wrong. Donna comes from the place. Do you remember when we talked about, and I think Donna said as well about definitely breathing out of the mouth,
Yeah.
right? Yes. So because Donna experiences the Donna has a lot of fire in her. Donna and so when she does the breathing, she wants to encourage everybody to release any excess, right? To release, to breathe in through the nose and then release any excess. And so when we practice pranayama or yoga, we already we have ways to calm the nervous system down and to really become centered. That's when we can start completely breathing through only through the nose and start to circulate that energy through the body. So it's very different. It's like talking to a Zen Buddhist and a Tibetan Buddhist. You have two completely different ways of thinking, right? It's not that it's wrong. It's just coming from a very different place. So just keep that in mind. Yeah.
Cool.
And
what
then
about
the tongue, tell me again the question about the tongue.
So am I supposed to never touch my top palate with that? It's supposed to be always relaxed? Like,
So
what doesn't
yeah.
say that you like to, yeah.
Again, and Janie, if you want to say something to that. So two things, and I think we mentioned that already right in the beginning in the Zoom, but when you in general life have your tongue relaxed, and I've actually noticed that more often. I don't know about you guys. I sometimes, oh, where's my tongue? Is my tongue relaxed? So thank you for that, Janie. So when the tongue is relaxed, the tongue can completely be relaxed. When it's up, there's sometimes some tension. However, we can use the tongue intentionally to put it up to the palate of the mouth, and that really helps with the hookup, and that helps with the to guide again the energy up to the third eye. And so we can do it intentionally or automatically. Just notice how you use your tongue when it's just in daily life, just stuck up to the top and to the front of the teeth, or if you do it intentionally to guide the energy. That's the difference. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Yeah,
It does.
and that's
Great.
exactly what I would have said, and I just want to reiterate. And when we become aware of our tongue and aware of where our tongue is, it's a muscle, and so it's almost like, if we were walking around with our hand in a fist all the time, how much energy that would use up, and we would not be able to, have the flexibility that we want in our hand. The tongue is a muscle. If it's pushed up to the roof of the mouth without us thinking about it, that's just because it's a habit of it living up there, as opposed to being more relaxed in the bottom of the mouth. That's just a sign to us of one place that we're holding stress, and one place that we can start bringing more awareness so that we can relax it and let our energies flow more. Then when we have the intention of assisting the hookup, or when we have the intention, there's a lot of different ways that the tongue can be utilized in yogic practice. Sometimes it's the tip of the tongue that's pushed to the or touching the back of the teeth. And it was, for me, before I learned and discovered that my tongue was frequently just sealed to the roof of my mouth, I would have the instruction in yoga to touch the tip of the tongue to the teeth, and I would think, well, yeah, I mean, where else is it going to be? Because my tongue was kind of always there. But now that the tongue is more relaxed, I can feel the real difference between touching the tip to the back of the teeth, as opposed to having it all at the top. So I hope that is helpful. Does that address your...
Yes. So basically in a daily life, let's say after this, when I just go around the house, should I kind of think of it like when I breathe in, it can touch the top, and then I breathe out, I should kind of relax it, yes?
Just as I'm sitting here right now listening to you, I'm noticing what my tongue is doing. It's just resting at the bottom, both in and out. It's mostly, above all, it's the awareness, bringing the awareness to that part of your body, and start to notice where it is, how you can play with it, how you can use that noticing to help calm your whole nervous system. When I first was discovering this with the help from oh, his name just left me, David's friend, Dawson Church, he was talking about when he's driving on the freeway and he can feel himself getting uptight driving on the freeway, he will notice his tongue, let his tongue relax, and automatically his whole body goes, oh yeah. So I don't feel like there's a one way or another, but become aware and play with it, notice it yourself. And I'm so thrilled to hear that your private personal practice is thriving. Yay. Thank you for that question. Okay, Roxana.
Hi. So I have been practicing as well, and I have the feeling that when I'm practicing before talking to someone, it really makes a difference in how much I absorb of the energy or how tired I get. So I'm happy with that. And I have a question that I actually wrote to Janie, and I scrambled her because of some mistake in whatever vocabulary or something. Or maybe it just is a bit difficult to explain as well. What happens to me, because we have this in the breathing, we also have, I was simply doing it, and I observed that my natural tendency is to hold my breath somewhere, very often on the out breath. So when I do the breathing exercises and we hold the muscles and the Mula Bandha and everything, it's difficult for me to start breathing again. So it's like, and I, observing this, I realized, oh, in my daily life, it happens that I stop breathing and it's difficult to start again. It's like, I have to, it's almost like with the sound when I manage to start again to exemplify. So it's like, and then I thought, wow, it doesn't just flow, or not always. So then I began trying to see if it's a particular something that makes a difference. I noticed that I breathe easier when I look upwards. I don't know if it's random or what. But however, I noticed that doing the exercises, this is really a difficulty. Each time we have to hold, it's difficult for me to stop holding and breathe. And it's also difficult to stop holding, contracted my belly muscles and breathe in daily life. So even when I'm breathing, I will keep my breathing shallow by staying very contracted around the solar plexus. So I don't know if you have any idea, any thought on that. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna let Simone address that. But Pam, I have one question for you. Is there the thing about pinning? Can you pin me and Simone so that if it's speaker view, that Simone and I managed to stay up there? It just was a technical thing that came through my brain. I'll let you manage that. Simone, can you help Roxana?
So first of all, awareness is everything. And so that's amazing that you're actually having this awareness now, because by the sound of it, you didn't have the awareness before. Is that right? So that's already amazing. So now you know that your breathing is first of all shallow, right? That you sometimes even stop breathing. So with the pranayama, let's say if you find it difficult to start breathing again after you do a pause, then for you personally, I probably would start practicing to just have your hand on your belly and just like a wave, just breathing in and out, just practicing without any retention, without any pause, to just start moving the bringing flow into the in and the exhale, and start using your belly. So it's just a matter of practicing. And as well, as you will do that more often, and as you will lengthen the breath, lengthening the inhale, lengthening the exhale, lengthening the inhale, lengthening the exhale, it's a muscle. You know, you will start strengthening the muscle, and at the same time, you will start calming the nervous system, right? Therefore, calming the fight, flight, freeze that has taken the retention in the first place that gives you shallow breathing. So slowly, you will calm the nervous system. You will start, will become much easier to breathe in the belly and to start breathing rhythmically in and out, so that when you have an easy flow, that you then find it that, oh, I can pause and then easily start breathing again. It's just a matter of becoming aware of it and practicing. It's like a muscle to strengthen. And especially if you have found your breathing is shallow, you will, your nervous system will calm down. Fight, flight, freeze will calm down. And it's going to be much easier. Matter of practice, and amazing that you're aware of it. Fantastic. And well done for practicing it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did that answer your question? Great.
Yes, I have to try now.
Yeah, I think one of the things I'm really hearing from what Simone has just said is simplifying. Start even simpler with just noticing the inhale and the exhale and the slowing it down. And once you do that, then the pausing, the mula bandha, the pulling in is going to become a lot easier. But you want to get that flow moving first. So
Yeah. Absolutely.
I really like your answers, Simone. You're good.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, Micah.
Thank you. Sorry, I don't know how to get that sweet little hand that everybody else is using, so I just have to raise my own hand. It's just a quick question with regards to the Mula Bandha. So from the first video, I understand that it's especially important to have that slight pull-up on the out-breath, but I find it quite I find it too much to tighten the Mula Bandha slightly on the out-breath and release on the in-breath. So sometimes I don't remember it at all, but if I do remember the Mula Bandha, I usually have just a slight tone in the Mula Bandha all the way through, instead of sort of on and off, because I just find that that kind of disturbs the breath. So I'm just intrigued what you think about that.
Yeah, absolutely. And so when I first, especially in the first Zoom, I gave a few variations where we started with the just hold the Mula Bandha on the in breath, and then on the exhale release. So if you find it easier just to gently hold it, and it's just a gentle holding the Mula Bandha, we don't have to retract the whole pelvic floor, then that is perfect. That is perfect. That's the perfect outcome. You to hold Mula Bandha constantly is great during pranayama. If it doesn't take any great effort, and if it becomes naturally, that's perfect. You're already there. Great.
Thank you.
But what would be interesting would be as well, like once you hold it, the thing is, by pulling it up and releasing it could be for you then the next step to practice that, so that you can get a real hold of that little muscle group, and this is so beautiful because it will be slightly different for everybody, what is more easy and what is more difficult. So this is where we get into the fine-tuning of what would be good for you. And for you it would be actually good, well, once you know how to hold it, maybe see if you can ever so often release it and hold it again. This is another muscle to strengthen, and the more we strengthen this muscle, the more we can use it in daily life when we are at the massage table, and are able to control it is the wrong word, but to really know how to use it and make the most of it. Yeah.
Okay. So a bit like with the tongue, there's not necessarily a right or wrong or that much tension.
No.
And I can release and pull up. I think because of my job, I just talk about pelvic floor so much. So I'm pretty up to date kind of with my own pelvic floor.
Great.
But yeah, I was just wondering whether there's kind of a right or wrong, so to speak, or I'm happy to experiment. Absolutely. Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah,
Right,
and if
thank
you're
you.
holding it the whole time, great. Brilliant.
Cool. Okay. Lovely.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Right. So one more question, and then we we are going to run over. That is all there is to that, because we still have some things to share with you. Roxana.
Yeah, something technical. I guess it's not so complicated. When we do the mula bandha, we are not supposed to contract the belly muscles, or are we? Because I don't manage to do them separately. So when I contract a bit the pelvic floor, the belly muscles contract with it. But I don't know if it's me or if it's normal this way.
So there is a gentle contraction in the belly. We can soften that as time goes by. Yeah. So again, it's the fine tuning. Mula bandha can be ever so subtle, but in the beginning, we probably contract, maybe we even contract the whole pelvic floor. That is fine. It's just the more we practice it, we get more fine tuned. And yes, in the beginning, you can absolutely contract the belly as well. And then not just know that you don't have to contract the belly. And I'm just doing it to see what it feels like. But yeah, you don't have to contract the belly. But yeah, in the beginning, you mind as well. And in the beginning, it's easy to teach it that way, because then you know, yeah, I definitely have just pulled up mula bandha, because I noticed, yes, it's all nicely pulled up and the belly goes back, you know, and I know that I have it. But once you fine tuned, if you keep practicing, you can actually just pull it up and the belly can still be relaxed. But in the beginning, that's absolutely fine if you gently retract it. Yeah.
Okay. So speaking of all that, Simone has some more breathing
Yeah.
to offer us. And I'm actually going to
Yes.
put a little something underneath my backside so that I have my pelvis tilted forward for this
Yes.
breathing.
And I'm going to put this up so that you guys can see me better. Okay. Is this good? Okay. Is the mirror in the background? Is that okay there? Or is that destructive?
Okay with me.
Okay, good. We'll leave it there. All right. And you can all see my belly, right? There it is. Okay, great. So one thing I just wanted to point out, for those that have done level 1, class 1, last year, 2023, will have that in their handouts because they've just added something. And I only read over it the other day and thought, oh, I need to share this with everybody. So it is now in class 1 book under neurolymphatics. It is in the neurolymphatic section. And so I'm really, really happy that it is in there, because right from the beginning, from class 1, we can start activating our breath much more, which Janie and I was just saying, we should all do this from class 1 on. It would help us so much. But it is in the handout now. So I just wanted to read that out for everybody. So, and we're going to read those 2 sentences, because we know that lymph, the neurolymphatic reflex points, there is no pump, right? We either release the toxins through massaging, as we know, or exercise, right? But now in the handout, they are acknowledging that breath moves the toxins out of the neurolymphatic reflex points, out of the lymph, right? Any toxins, just by slow breathing. And so in the handout, it says, and I just read these 2 sentences. So this is enhanced by pressure changing in the body from diaphragmatic breathing. So I'm going to read the whole sentence actually, so it makes sense. Where is it? Lymph does not have built-in central pump. Instead, lymph is primarily moved by the contractions of smooth muscle fiber through a series of lymph collectors that overlay our connective tissue. Now, this is enhanced by pressure changes in the body from diaphragmatic breathing. Yeah, so they are acknowledging that by breathing, we're moving toxins out of the lymph. Physical exercise and slow, deep breathing help to stimulate movement of lymph through the body. So by just, yay, exactly. So when we do pranayama, we're actually toning, yeah, our body. We're toning our muscles. We're toning, toxins are being released. And sometimes I think I mentioned at the end of some pranayama, some breathing exercise that we've been doing, there's a natural intoxication sometimes happening. And that is when the toxins are literally being released and we're feeling slightly lightheaded, right? And so I'm encouraging you all to drink plenty of water. Same as we do when we massage our lymphatics. So it tones the body, it moves toxins out of the body, and it calms the nervous system down. It calms our fight, flight, freeze system. That means that the chemicals that are moving around our body that is activated through stress, right? We are moving those chemicals out of the body, and that means the body is much more toned. Because I remember when sometimes I would just do pranayama and I didn't even do any asanas, and all of a sudden I was so much more flexible, thinking so much clearer, you know, and feeling full of energy and full alive, and almost losing weight probably as well, toning up. So all good reasons to do more breathing exercises. Great, let's do it. Let's do it. Oh, and the other thing is when we slow our breath down, we live longer. Any animal with slow breathing lives much longer than animals that breathe fast. And the same with us humans. So, wonderful reason to start breathing really slow, lengthening your breath. So we're just going to repeat what we already have learned. So I'd like you to sit in any position where you feel comfortable, where your spine is nice and straight. If you're sitting cross-legged, make sure your bum is slightly higher than your knees, can be ever so slightly if you're sitting in a chair. And just feeling the lovely uprightness of your spine, and you just like a coat hanger. You're putting your wonderful animal body, your body being around that coat and relaxing. It is just hanging off the spine. Just starting to relax the breath. Just noticing your breath, seeing if it's shallow. We don't have to change it yet, just noticing it. And then take a nice, deep, long breath in. And on the exhale, gently pulling up Mula Bandha. Your belly might move backwards, and that's absolutely fine. Exhale, lengthening the breath. And on the inhale, if you wish to, you can relax Mula Bandha again, or just keep holding it. Lengthening the breath. Exhale. Breathing through the nose, gently pulling up Mula Bandha. And inhale, relax Mula Bandha, or keep it strong, whatever suits you. And we're going to exhale again, pulling up Mula Bandha. And we're going to make sure that we are breathing equally. So I'm just going to breathing in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause and exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Little pause. In. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause and exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5. And keep breathing in your own rhythm, making the inhale and the exhale the same length. You can extend the count or make it shorter, whatever suits you. So it's an easy to breathe. On the exhale, pulling up Mula Bandha, gentle pull. The inhale, you can let go or keep holding, whatever feels good for you. On your next exhale, gently moving the chin towards the back, closing down the throat. So you're having the feeling someone is pulling your head from the top, from the back of the head just up. So your neck is nice and long and your chin is tucked in. We call this Jalandhara Bandha, the chin lock. The chin lock helps us to keep the coolness of the head alive and the heat of the belly alive. So we're keeping the coolness of the head, keeping the fire of the belly. And automatically by pulling the chin in, activating Jalandhara Bandha, the ocean breath slowly starts. So there's a slight hissing. And that little hissing sound activates the lengthening of the breath. Activating Ujjayi breathing or ocean breath. Pulling up Mula Bandha on the exhale. Keeping Jalandhara Bandha, the chin lock, just keeping that alive the whole time. We're taking a deep breath in. And on the exhale, we're moving our hand up. And on the next inhale, closing down the right nostril with your thumb, breathing in through the left. And then closing the left nostril, exhaling through the right. Gentle inner smile, relaxing the shoulders deeply in through the right. Changing over out through the left. Deeply in through the left. Changing over out through the right. A little pause on the in after the inhale. A little pause after the exhale when we're changing over the hands. In through the same nostril. And out, changing over. Keeping hold of Jalandhara Bandha. Keeping the shoulders relaxed. You can keep holding Mula Bandha the whole time if you wish. Always breathing in through the same nostril, and on the exhale we change over. Little pause after the exhale and a little pause after the inhale. Make sure your head is still nice and straight and your shoulders relaxed. Making the inhale the same length as the exhale. If your hand is becoming tired, you can always gently relax it and just in your mind's eye still follow the eternal nostril breathing, the Nadi Shuddhi. Balancing Ida and Pingala, the sun and the moon channel, the yin and the yang within you. Completely calming the nervous system down. After your next exhale through the left nostril, you gently relaxing the hand down and breathing through both nostrils again, making sure Jalandhara Bandha, the chin lock, is still alive. Mula Bandha still gently pulled up. Just observing the right and the left side of your body being beautifully balanced. And then relaxing after the next exhale, just gently relaxing the Mula Bandha, relaxing the chin lock, And coming back to a normal breathing. And just observing that calm state, the mind has completely calmed down. The chatter has finally stopped. And I'd like you to introduce you to a Kapalabhati breathing. Kapalabhati means, Kabbalah means skull and Bhati means light. Kapalabhati is a fire breath. Some of us might know it as a fire breath. And Kapalabhati is amazing for any respiratory illnesses like asthma and bronchitis. And at the same time, it completely invigorates the liver, the spleen, the pancreas, and the whole digestive system. And as we know, all the organs, they hold emotional components. It completely calms down our emotional being. So with Kapalabhati, I like you again to gently pull down the chin, closing that chin lock down, where we then automatically move into Ujjayi breathing, that really gentle Darth Vader breath, but it's not like the strong Darth Vader that we might know. It's that gentle breath that we can hear internally. And then gently pulling up Mula Bandha, and I'm just going to demonstrate. I'm going to have one hand on my belly. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to gently but vigorously start on an exhale. I'm going to exhale all the stale air out, pull my belly in. And then I'm going to start on the exhale because there's always a little bit more breath left in the abdomen. So I breathe out. And there's an automatic little inhale as well. And then I'm going to start, and we're just going to do 10 breaths to start off with. There's 10 retentions. And I'm just going to demonstrate for now. So, Jalandhara Bandha, Mula Bandha, and exhaling. The last breath is a very strong one where we really strongly pull the tummy back to our spine. And then we take a deep inhale and then relax the chin lock and relax Mula Bandha. We're just going to start off with 10 breaths. Is that okay for everybody? Yeah, give me thumbs
I would
up.
just like to clarify that
Yes.
this is all in and out through the nose. And so it's swiftly done. We couldn't hear your breath. So,
Okay.
but you will be able to hear your breath in and out
Yes.
rapidly through the nose.
So is
Should
it
I
like
put my...
sorry, is it like the breath of fire?
Yes, it's the breath of fire.
Yeah.
Yes,
right.
it is the breath of fire. Absolutely. We are stimulating all our organs. All right, so pull up Mula Bandha, chin lock in, Jalandhara Bandha, and then take a deep breath in, belly out, and on the exhale, pull your belly in. And then we're going to start on an exhale. Exhale completely, and deep inhale. And letting go of the bandhas. Did that work for everybody? Yeah? We're going to practice again. Yeah, if you have a question, ask a question now.
Just very briefly. So we're taking a deep breath in, and then we're pulling up Mula Bandha, and then we're breathing out 10 times, just very fast.
So yeah, and we're starting on an exhale. So I'm going to breathe in. Then I'm going to exhale, pull my tummy back on the exhale. I pull up Mula Bandha, put the root lock in, and then we're starting on an exhale because there's always a little bit of air still left, and you might even automatically take another little breath so that we are doing the Kapalabatis on an empty tummy. Does that make sense?
I want to add something. So it is an inhale, exhale. So it's not just X, but we're, swiftly inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale,
There's
exhale.
automatically air coming in through the nose, but you're focusing on the exhale. Great. Thank you, Janie. So shall I demonstrate again one more time and breathe really loudly? Okay, so I take a deep breath in and I exhale. I pull up. I pull my tummy back. I put the chin lock, Jalandhara Bandha, Mula Bandha up, and I'm still on the exhale, and now I start on an exhale, but automatically there'll be some air coming into my nose. Exhale all the way, and then inhale, and then relax. Did that make sense? I'll guide you through. I'll guide you through. And don't worry if you get it wrong. Just follow me, and we're always starting on an exhale. It's because so that we have there's no air left in the belly. Yeah. So take a deep breath in, everybody. Deep breath in. Mula Bandha, Jalandhara Bandha. And then starting on an exhale, and you automatically will have some air coming in through the nose. Pull that belly back. Exhale completely. Take a deep breath in. Belly out. Chest out. And relax. And then you're relaxing the Jalandhara Bandha and you're relaxing the Mula Bandha. The reason to move the Jalandhara Bandha up in as well is to not have any head rushes, to not have any when we get a lot of fire going when we do the fire breath. And if we let that fire go straight up into our head, we get a head rush maybe. And so the head wants to stay nice and cool. This is why we're locking the chin in. And it's one of the easiest bandhas of them all. Okay, let's do that one more time. And this is where you get a beautiful natural intoxication and the mind completely quiets down. So deep breath in, pulling up Mula Bandha, pulling up the chin lock, pulling it in. And then starting 10 fast breath in the belly. Pulling the belly back to your spine. Exhale, pulling it back, pulling it back, pulling it back. Exhale, exhale. Chin lock strong. Deeply inhaling. Chin lock, Mula Bandha still active. Belly out, chest out. And then relaxing the chin, relaxing Mula Bandha. And enjoying the natural intoxication. One more time. Take a deep breath in. Pulling up Mula Bandha. Pulling up the chin lock. And with an exhale, pulling back the belly 10 times. Breathing through the nose. Exhaling completely, pulling the belly back towards the spine, holding the locks tight. Deeply inhaling, into the belly, all the way up into the chest, chin lock tight. And then with the exhale, relaxing the chin lock, relaxing the belly, closing the eyes for a moment, and noticing that beautiful natural intoxication. Gentle inner smile. Noticing how your breath naturally is lengthened. You naturally have a much longer inhale and a much longer exhale after the Kapalabhati, breathing the fire breath. Ideally, you want to do this 3 times, and you can start slowly lengthening the Kapalabhatis from 10 to 15 to 20 breaths. Knowing that you've just moved a lot of toxins out of your body, that all the cells are being oxygenated, your organs have been toned, your mind has been calmed, nervous system's been calmed. Any chemicals in the body have been detoxified. Good. So I'm going to hand it over to Janie now, because we don't want to go too much over, but I encourage you to start practicing this. We have a little bit shorter time today with the pranayam, but I really encourage to practice this, to start toning your organs, and your health will increase multifold.
Thank you so
ask
much,
just
Simone.
very quick
Yes,
something about just very quick. Because it's so quick, does the belly, does it come out all the way, or just like?
You know what? Focus on the retention. Never mind how far it comes out. As long it goes, as long you have. So it might not come out all the way. Yeah. We don't push it out. No, you focus on the retention. Really good question. Thank you. Really good question. Yeah. Focus on the retention rather than on the expansion on the belly. Yes, absolutely. Well done. Good question.
All right. I'm sure that there are many more questions. I'm just looking at the clock, and I don't want to take us too far over. And what was so beautiful, and it's hard to follow because now I'm really in the zone. But what I want to do is I want to bring that zone with us to the table. And that's how come I'm here at my table today with you, is because what I want to do is just talk to kind of cap this whole journey off with bringing it back to the table, bringing it back to your practitioner presence. And you know what I said before in our class was sorry, I have to get this blanket out of the way, it's bugging me now. That when we do our own work, then it is by virtue of our own presence, when we have paid attention to our own vibrational tone, then the presence that we bring to the table in and of itself, without us efforting, it is uplifting to our clients. And and in Eden energy medicine, we don't well, let me back up a second and say, I'm not a Reiki practitioner. I've never studied Reiki. I understand that with Reiki, there is, an energy that's generated and then sent from the person to their hands. In Eden energy medicine, that's not so much the healing modality that we're using. What we're really doing is engaging with that person's, our client's energy systems, and we're helping to organize those energy systems. So what Donna is teaching us is not about, here is how I use my energy to influence the client's energy. That said, like I say, it is by virtue of our presence when we have an uplifted, a more high vibratory tone, just being with us is going to be uplifting. And when we can hold that neutral space that we talked about before, when we don't bring our bias in, when we can access a state of just loving presence, then whatever we're doing with our hands is going to be enhanced by that. So I wanted to talk about just a couple of things, and I don't need to take a whole lot of time with that. One is just about our posture, and so our posture at the table and how that can clear the way for what energy is available to move through us with fewer obstacles. And then the other thing that I want to talk on top of that is how, when we do feel like energy is stuck, that we're not getting somewhere with it, that we can use that, our breath, to move down through our hands to enhance the energy that's coming through our hands, in order to have an even more profound effect on whatever it is that we're holding, whether it's clearing a chakra, or holding neurovasculars, or holding acupressure points. Sometimes it is appropriate to use our breath to help move energy. But first, let's talk about being at the table. So I'm going to come around here, and I hope that you can see. I don't remember if I said in class that one of the things that I always want to keep in mind is something that a fellow first grade father told me. He said his dad told him, always put your butt behind your work. So a classic example of that is when we're doing a spinal flush. When we're doing a spinal flush, if we are standing at the head of the table and we're doing this, we're putting our butt behind our work. I have seen some people trying to do a spinal flush like this, in which case we're pulling. So when we are doing anything pulling and not moving into it, we don't have the benefit of our body weight behind it. When we are pushing, we have our body weight behind what we're doing, and we're not having to use our back muscles. Like if I was going to be doing something this way, I would have to be engaging my back muscles for my strength, as opposed to using my body weight for the strength or the pressure. So whenever you're working with a body, keep that old adage in mind. Put your butt behind your work, and if you find yourself pulling towards you, see if you can adjust your posture so that you are leaning in or pushing, not efforting pushing, but using that body weight to help with your pressure. The stance of your feet, and oftentimes I see people with their feet very close together. When your feet are really close together, you don't have the kind of real stable stance that you need. So I'm afraid you can't see too well. Maybe, no, I don't think there's any way, unless I was going to stand up on the table, which I'm not going to do right now. But my feet right now are about, they're maybe even a little bit more than a shoulder width apart. And my knees are soft. If you're locking your knees, oh, thank you. Yes, great. Thanks, Simone. You can see if you're locking your knees, well, you don't want to, I'm not, we don't want you to squat, but just to let your knees be a little bit soft, because if you lock your knees, then you're locking the energy in the legs cannot run as freely as you wanted to. So your knees want to be a little bit soft. And I like to think about bringing a little bit of Tai Chi into the table, so that I'm frequently swaying back and forth with that broad stance, and my softer knees so that whatever I'm doing, there's a fluidity to it. If you find that your body is stiff, if your shoulders are up, and this is a thing very, very important to pay attention to. I think it's a lot with the doing a spinal flush is with the shoulders up around the ears. Not helpful. I bet there are so many times I have approached a student and I ask them, can you do that with your shoulders down? And they will find themselves, whatever they're doing, even if it's holding acupressure points. Oh, yeah, I can. And what I notice when I do that is that when my shoulders come up, I automatically curve forward, you know, so I've got this kind of thing going on. But when my shoulders come down and my pelvis pulls, so I'm pulling my pubic bone up a little bit, dropping my butt, my back, just like how we have just been talking about in the pranayama with the posture there, when my back is straight and I feel like I'm being lifted by as if I was a marionette, the energy can move through my body so much better than if my shoulders are up or if I'm curled forward, if my knees are locked. Whatever is restricting my body is going to restrict the energy. So if you want to think about being at the table, and I know that when you're thinking about what are the points and what is the protocol and what am I supposed to be doing next, it's a little bit difficult, but that's what I'm really, and by the way, I just so loved watching you all, and I keep going back to the pictures when you were blindfolded and at the table. This is exactly what I wanted to evoke with that exercise, is to not be thinking about it, but to be feeling yourself and feeling yourself fluid and feeling fluid and upright and able to respond and move and be that conduit for the energy. And even while you're doing that, to use the breath. And even you can, as you develop your relationship with the Mula Bandha, you can hold the Mula Bandha in even a little bit too while you're here at the table, because that's going to lift your whole inner Sushumna and lift your energy up. So I'm not talking about efforting to pull that in, but when you've developed that relationship and you practice with that, lifting that Mula Bandha just a little bit, you can bring that to the table. So in other words, you're kind of making your work as a yogic practice, because you're bringing your regal posture, because you're bringing the Mula Bandha root lock in a little bit, because you're bringing your breath to it, because you're bringing flow and movement to it. That's going to help you be the conduit that you want to be, to help whatever energy needs to happen in your client. And then when you feel like you have that kind of flow and ease going for you, and you encounter an energy that's not responding to or not responding as well as you would like it to whatever you're doing, if it's sedating a meridian, or if it's holding the elemental energies on either side of the body, then, and only when you know that you are in a neutral space and you're not trying to force anything, you might actually really intentionally start using that breath, like the Ujjayi breath. And as you exhale, you're imagining your breath going down and out through your hands. And when you do that, it really only takes a couple of those kind of intentional breaths. Why don't you just do that like Simone is doing? Hold your hands out, full breath in. You can use that little Ujjayi ocean breath. And this time, as you exhale, imagine your breath coming down the yin side, the inner side of your arms, and out your hands. And again, I really, really, really want to emphasize that this is not about forcing or pushing anything, but about cultivating the flow in your own body. And then from that neutral, unbiased space, make an offering, really, an offering of this free-flowing energy through down and through your hands in order to be a benefit to the energy system of the person on the table. So I don't do it a lot. I only use it when I feel like that their energy needs just a little bit of boost and support in making the movement that we're hoping for. So that is pretty much, I just want to say, to be discerning about that, because I feel like it's just so important. I think you've probably already gotten this from me. It's really important to me that we are there to serve that individual in the way that is going to work for them, and not to prove anything or to involve our own bias of what should happen, let alone, wanting something marvelous to happen so that, we feel good and they feel good. We just want to be there, present with them to the best of our ability, and offer the cleanest, clearest breath and energy that we have to them. And the way that we do that is doing our work in the first place before we even come to the table. And then when we are at the table, using those things to help bring our body into that state where we can be that conduit. And this is how we also can do what we do without becoming exhausted and without becoming overwhelmed, and without taking other people's energy with us, because we've done that work and because we know how to use our body as a clean conduit when we're doing the work. So that's pretty much all I have to add right now. Let's see.
Can I add something to
please.
that, Janie?
Yeah, and then we'll hear from Sage.
Yeah. So the way I see it, it's like, if I have, and Janie just mentioned, she only uses it if there's someone on the couch where you feel like it needs that extra support. And the way I would describe exactly what Janie just said would be like, when I'm having someone on the couch where I feel like I need to notch it up, I need to step even more unwaveringly into the light or space that there is all around me. It's not my light, but it's just like I step further into it and let it be there, and just kind of, as Janie said, let it extend as an invitation to my client, because everybody has free choice. It's not up to me, it's the client's choice. But let me be in that light even further, in that presence even further, that it extends out so that it is inviting for my client. Does that make sense? It's the same thing that Janie just said.
Beautiful.
I said it
Perfect.
a tiny little bit different. So
no, I love
yeah.
that. Yeah, thank you so much. That was great. All right, Sage, you had a question.
Hi, yeah. I did put in the chat, and Simone said clear the gates, but I was just wondering if Janie as well, or anybody else, when I'm doing the spinal flush, if I've got somebody who really likes it firm, and my thumbs don't feel that firm, and it gets quite difficult for me.
I'm so excited to answer this question. So because I have because it's really important information. So one of the first thing that I want to say, and I said this in the class too, I highly recommend having a face plate as opposed to the face hole. And the reason is that when I'm giving the spinal flush, I can stand here by their shoulder with their head up, so that I have much greater access. If I am, and especially me being the short person that I am, if I'm doing like this, that becomes really, really hard for my back. So if you can possibly get a table that has a faceplate, that will help. Now, the other important thing, yeah, I'm going to come into that. So when you're doing a spinal flush or anything with your thumb, the more that you can keep your thumb in line with your forearm, the better. Because when you are doing this kind of thing, and you've got this that's happening,
Yeah,
in your thumb there, this becomes super vulnerable, and you can't get as much pressure. But when you can rotate, I don't know, is that helpful to do it from this perspective? So that your thumb is in line with your forearm, you're going to be able, by lining that up, you're going to be able to use the pressure of your body. You're not using, so this is the thing I see, people trying to use the pressure from their arms and their shoulders. But when you can be in this lowered stance, so I've got my legs spread apart, my front leg is bent and forward a little bit, and my thumbs are lined up with my forearm, I can use the pressure, the weight of my body behind the pressure of the spinal flush. Now, for me, because I'm short, when I get to about mid to lower back, I will switch to using my middle fingers, but the same thing goes. I'm trying to keep my fingers in line with my forearm. One of the other things that I will do to really support my thumbs and get the more pressure is I tuck, let's see, how do I do it? I make a fist and I support my thumb from the fist. So if I'm doing the spinal flush this way, my fist is kind of resting, so my knuckles are resting on their body, and I'm not using the pressure of my knuckles, but that is helping to support my whole thumb as I'm doing the spinal flush that way. So just pay attention to, if you're doing this, you don't want to do that, because your thumb is not going to be able to give the amount of pressure that it needs to, and it's not going to be safe. But do what you can to keep your thumb in. Oh, look. Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Janie.
Yesterday I got those funny things figured out, and I forgot that 2 thumbs up gives you fireworks. Yeah, keep that thumb in line with your forearm and put your butt behind your work. You're going to get a much stronger spinal flush.
Just one quick one. Thank you, Janie. At the end of a session, I do blow out cold water on my arms and clearing and zip up. Is there anything else that you do or anyone else does?
That sounds
Heaven
good
and
to
earth.
me. Yeah, heaven and earth is really good too.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, and I like to step outside if I can.
Yeah,
is always important to me. Yeah, Micah.
Sorry, Michelle taught us something which I've used since, which I found really helpful. So she says when she ends a session, she kind of, I mean, basically you spread your arms, you kind of hold the space for the client, and then with your arms spread, you just kind of break the connection quite consciously. So I'd have my arms out, break the connections, and then she kind of creates this virtual vortex, shakes off her hands, imagine everything going in there, close it off again, and then she thanks the client and herself. And it takes, I mean, and then basically it's finished. That probably sounds a lot more complicated now, the way I've explained it, than it actually is. It probably takes about 5 or 10 seconds maximum. But again, I have done it since, and I'm finding that I've sort of discharged so much energy already. And then I don't have, yes, I mean, of course I still wash my hands. Sometimes I still use the cold water, but it's kind of, I've done half of the work already in terms of.
I couldn't see the end of your hand, what you did.
Yeah,
I could only.
So basically, yes, because the screen isn't big enough. So basically, I'm spread. This is Michelle, right? So this is not me, but I'm just just what she told us. So both hands would be like this, and then you kind of break the connection like this with the other hand as well. So I'm just doing this kind of movement, and then she just creates this virtual vortex on the floor. Imagine everything goes in, closes it, and then there's this little thank you to the client and herself. And I mean, it's just something she does, and she encouraged us to do. But for me, it never even occurred to me to just kind of have a formal ending. And I mean, breaking off sounds a bit harsh, but in a way, it is important to end that connection in some way. So at least for me, as I said, it's helpful to do that as part of a session. The client doesn't even realize, so they've still got their eyes closed. And then when I wash my hands, I find it's much easier to kind of, be disconnected in a way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes great sense. I like that. Yeah, disconnect rather than break. Thanks, Pam. That's a good word. Sweet. Yes, Simone, I am looking at the clock and feeling like we really want to, but go ahead.
Really quickly. What I often do as well, I'm pulling, especially if it's someone where I felt like my aura was kind of like enveloping them, I'm consciously pulling my aura back again at the end of the session, again, with a lot of thank you for working with you, and I'm pulling my aura consciously back so that I'm whole again, and there's me again. That's just something I consciously do as well. And
excellent.
And I always pull the energy off my thumbs and my fingers, because my thumbs used to hurt a lot after a lot of spinal flushes, and now they don't hurt anymore and I do this all the time because I've got quite overextended joints, just as a little tip.
I guess as you did that, I just realized that one of my favorite things when I go outside is just take it all off.
That works.
Yeah, that feels good.
Yeah.
Well, I know that there are probably other questions and so much more that we could share, but I really am looking at the clock and I feel like we've got to wrap it up. Y'all have been, see, this is me and my, I'm not from Texas, but I am from the United States, and I do say y'all sometimes. All of you have been so beautiful to work with and to share this time with, and thank you so much for your presence and your questions and your enthusiasm. It's just been fantastic. And Simone, we could do more of this, I think.
Yes, absolutely. And if you guys, I put my email in because it was mainly Janie who was in email contact with you. But if any of you have a question about pranayama or whatever, I put my email into the chat, and maybe Janie could share my email again as well.
Yes. All right. So thank you. Actually, you know what? Let's do this. We got to do this. Okay, rub hands, shake them off. Let's do some 9 hearts. To wrap this up formally, take a breath in. A heart around the face, blessing our thoughts with clarity. A heart around our torso, blessing our feelings with peace. A heart around our hips, blessing our actions with inspiration. And draw that straight up through the center and open yourself up into a vessel of yes, relaxing your tongue, opening your heart, and drinking in every bit of energy and love that you need that will help you help them. Solutions and connections and vitality and intelligence and everything that you seek is there for you, and it's coming into you now. And draw that in, pull it into your heart, and say to yourself, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. Thank you. Many blessings. See you soon, I hope.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.